Hello, my name is Don Williamson and I'm the Chief Executive at Shared Care Scotland, and I'm here with Kate Hogarth.
Hi there, I'm Kate. I'm Head of Policy and Comms at Shared Care Scotland.
Okay, so we're here to share our thoughts on the government's plans to give unpaid carers a legal right to a break from caring. We'll summarise what the government's plans are, we'll explain why we think this is such an important development, but also highlight some of the challenges we believe must be overcome if this new right is to make a meaningful difference. So, Kate, can you explain what is the Scottish Government's commitment to introducing a legal right to a break for carers, and why is this significant?
Thanks, Don. So the proposed right to a break from caring is significant as it represents a huge step forward for Scotland's unpaid carers, and is a recognition of the work that they do and the need that they have for breaks, and how important breaks are in helping carers to look after their own health and well-being. And putting that into a legal right is a fantastic step forward. It's come about as a result of the Independent Review of Adult Social Care, sometimes called the Feely Report, which made a series of recommendations, including some relating to unpaid carers. The right makes changes to the existing Carers Act to personalised short break support, which will ensure that carers will be able to access sufficient breaks from caring, and eligibility criteria will no longer apply. The National Care Service legislation bill also states that existing powers can be used to maintain a national short breaks fund to enable easy access breaks for carers as well. Don, can you share why you think this commitment is important for unpaid carers, and how might this new right transform the landscape?
Well, for many years now, we've all been concerned about the lack of opportunity for carers and for the people that they care for to have regular and meaningful breaks. Time out from the demands of their caring routines to rest and recharge, and just to be able to balance their caring responsibilities with other things that are important in their lives. We know that access to regular breaks can protect carer health and well-being, which can help to sustain and support healthy caring relationships, and conversely, a lack of breaks can have catastrophic impacts on carers' lives. Now, the Feely Report, which you've just referred to, was clear that carers need better, more consistent support to carry out their caring role and to take a break from caring, with regular access to quality respite provision. And the Scottish Government agreed with this, and agreed with Feely's recommendation there should be a right to a break. Now, the situation at the moment is currently there is no universal legal right to a break. Decisions on whether carers get breaks or not are ultimately subject to local decisions based on local eligibility criteria. When the public money is tight, as it is now, local authorities might adjust eligibility criteria to regulate pressure on budgets, and they'll prioritise spending on things that they have a legal duty to deliver. And inevitably, services providing support, such as breaks from caring, are vulnerable to cuts. So a clearly defined legal right should, certainly in theory, give carers that legal entitlement to access the breaks that they need. It should create more consistency of support across the country, rather than the postcode lottery or the widespread variation that we experience currently. And it will also come with significant additional funds from government, and these funds will be to support local authorities to implement the right by increasing the availability of breaks to meet the expected rise in demand when the right comes into effect.
And what do you think might prevent a right to a break from being effective? What else needs to happen in order to make it so?
Yeah, well, picking up on the last point about the funding, we need a national and local improvement plan to guide the development of short breaks, backed with significant upfront investments, so that we can build short breaks capacity where it is needed in advance of the new right coming into effect. And, this isn't just about new money, but it's about ensuring that existing funds are being properly targeted and used in the best possible way. Clearly we'd like to see this money ring-fenced so that there's proper accountability. We also need to see the legislation to be tightly defined so that carers are clear what rights they have and how they can hold the local authorities or the duty bearers to account if they are prevented from exercising their rights. And I think we'll also need some overarching measures in place from the outset to set out how this new right to a break will be properly evaluated. How will we know it's actually making a positive difference and delivering the improvements that were expected? And I think without these steps, there's a risk that we simply deliver a well-intentioned but ultimately ineffective piece of legislation. So it's really vitally important that we do all that we can collectively now to ensure that the right to break does deliver on its promises. So Kate, what are the next steps for both the government and organisations like ours in making this right a reality for carers?
So the National Care Service Bill is progressing through the Scottish Parliament at the moment. It's at this what's called Stage 2, which the Health, Sport and Social Care Committee's heard its asked its second call for evidence. So organisations like us and the other national care organisations are able to put in our views around that, which will be considered by the committee. It then goes to a vote, and if it passes, it goes to the next stage. So it is part of a very lengthy legislative process with various stages for scrutiny and amendments and so on. Over and above that, our organisation is continuing to ensure that we're representing the views of carers and people who use short breaks services and organisations involved in delivering them, making sure that their views are represented as the bill progresses. And we're doing that through things like the Regulations and Guidance Working Group that we're part of, which started to look at specific bits of the right to break legislation, such as the definition of sufficient, so that we could make sure that that was as fit for purpose as it possibly could be, and we'll continue to engage with that process. The other thing that's worth noting is that we are of the view that if the National Care Service Bill isn't able to progress as Scottish Government hopes, that we would advocate for the right to a break to still be brought in by other means, as it's such an important part of carers' rights and has the potential to be so transformative. So we'll continue to work towards that right to a break, even if the National Care Service doesn't progress as expected.
And how can unpaid carers, organisations and the public, how can they get involved or stay informed about this new legal right to break as it progresses?
The Scottish Government has got quite a comprehensive part of their website on the National Care Service, and through that you can find various stakeholder groups, stakeholder registers, newsletters and experience panels that people can sign up for, or sign up for newsletters to follow their work. You can also follow our social media accounts, which are Care Breaks. We post a lot about this progress, and as do the other National Care Service, other national carer organisations.
Okay, well, just to finish, we believe this is a vitally important milestone in extending carers' rights. And despite our concerns about some of the details, we do believe this is such an important opportunity to be grasped. The current government has pledged to introduce the right to a break in advance of the National Care Service. And we know the National Care Service, if it's going to happen, could be anything up to 4 years away. So we would urge you, if you have the chance, to meet with ministers or MSPs to remind them of this. We can't afford to wait. We can't afford for this important new right to be delayed. Carers have been waiting far too long already. So as Kate said, you can keep in touch with developments on our website or sign up to our newsletter, which you can also do from our website. Okay, that's all. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you.